Good morning, day 25. I am so amazed at how long food lasts if you use it all up and in creative ways. I mean, I'm even surprised. So today is another day of cooking from the fridge and the freezer. And, excuse me, we're going out to dinner tonight. Tom's taking me out for dinner, so I won't be making a meal tonight, but I will probably bring half of it home depending on what I eat. So I'll have a couple leftover meals for dinner, but I'm thinking I want to make some soup. I'm in the mood for some soup, so in a couple days I'll make some of that. So day 25, let's see what cooking adventure we can come up with. Used up this whole bottle of chocolate caramel, but I have like 3 more because this is one of my basics that I always keep in the refrigerator, and I always have it on hand. The only time I don't have it and I try something new is when Walmart is out of it, because this is the Great Value brand, but it's my favorite. So stock up on your basics and you'll always have something to cook with or drink. Okay, let's see. Breakfast day 25. Got a mess going here on my table. I want to finish this heart that I bought back in December, so I have it ready. I took some lights out of some of my Christmas things. I have this vase that I want to put a couple of these lights in, so I've got that going on. But I digress. Let's go over to my refrigerator and freezer and see what we can come up with for breakfast. So let's see. Here's my leftover stir fry. Yay, I won't have to cook for a meal. So I'm thinking I've got still these green onions. I'm going to put a little bit on top of here, but I've got a lot of veggies left. Well, not a lot. I still have this rosa sauce, so I'm going to make something with this because it's a cheese sauce with tomatoes. And one of my viewers suggested that I make a savory breakfast casserole because I have all this dry bread. So I think I'm going to do that with this bread, but then I still have these flatbreads that are kind of on the dry side, but I don't want to use those. And I still have the bagels. Those I took out of the freezer yesterday, so I'm not going to use those. I have this half of a tomato. I'll use that. I have onion that I cut up from yesterday. And let's see. I still have some peppers. That would go really good in a casserole because they cook quickly. I'm not going to use avocado. Maybe no carrots, but I have this little bit of celery left. That'll go well in a casserole. So, and I have eggs. I'll probably use 3 or 4 of those. Oh, I need to do my nails. I'll use 3 or 4 of those, but I can't get those right now because I'm holding my camera. So I will get the eggs out in a minute. And then I still have some over here, some almond milk. Oh, it's about 1/3 of a carton. So I'll use that. And what else? I think we're good for now. If I think of anything else, I might get something out of the freezer. Let's take a look. Let's just take a look, because this is going to be a savory breakfast casserole. So let's see. I'm going to need cheese, of course, so I can use up some of the cheese I have. And let's see what veggies I have in here. I have more peppers. I don't need that. I have some broccoli. Maybe I'll chop up a little broccoli. This is my veggie drawer. And this up here is my frozen fruit drawer. So let's see. Anything over here? I do have some zucchini. I could put some shredded zucchini in. It's frozen in a solid block, but I might be able to break some of that off. So I think I have enough veggies here that I can make a decent casserole. So I'll meet you over at the stove when I get everything prepped. All right, well, I prepped a bunch of things here, all the things I pulled out of my freezer. And the first thing I did was, now this is a combination of dried ciabatta bread and Walmart's Italian everything bread. There wasn't a whole lot of that, but first thing I did was I found a smaller casserole dish, because usually I end up with enough to feed an army. So I only put enough bread in here for maybe 3 meals, because I don't want to be eating this for a week. I don't like to do that. I know some people like to do that. They eat the same thing and it doesn't bother them, but that's not me. So the rest of it I cut up in cubes, and I'm going to just leave this open and put it in the fridge, because the fridge will help dry this out. So I'm going to make bread crumbs out of this. So anyway, I'm going to put this aside for a little bit, and then I'm going to show you which spices I'm going to use. And I just randomly pick these out of my spice cabinet. And you do whatever spices suit your taste buds. There's no formula to this. So I have some of this Delizio original bacon seasoning. There's no bacon in it. It's vegan. You can get this online. There's a Delizio. It's DELICIOU.com, where you can order this. So I'm going to put some of that in. And I have some of this McCormick, I don't even know where I got this, I've had it a long time, garlic and herb seasoning, salt-free. I have some celery tops that I dried myself. I'll put some of that in. I have some ground cumin that I want to put in there, because that goes well with eggs. I have a little bit of this grated topping. I want to give it a cheesy flavor, and I'm also going to be adding cheese. And then I'm going to add a teeny tiny bit of this Tony Chachere's Creole seasoning, because that's the one place where I like just a little tiny bit of heat is on my eggs, because otherwise I think they're too bland. So that will all be going on there, and that's to taste. You know, whatever your taste buds prefer. Now, in this pan here, I cut everything up already, because I know you all know how to cut up veggies. So in here I have celery, a little bit of frozen broccoli, and I picked the small pieces out of the frozen broccoli bag. I have some orange and red pepper. I have a couple slices of tomato, and here I have green and regular sweet onion, and this is the shredded zucchini that I had in the freezer. Now fortunately I did that in 2 little baggies, which I didn't realize, so that should be just enough. So because this and the tomato, a lot of these veggies, especially the frozen ones, have a lot of water in them that I want to cook out. So, and this will be enough to water saute all of this. And then if I need more, I have this delicious garlic butter that I brought home from the restaurant that I will probably add to this because I want to give this this flavor in my casserole. So I'm going to go ahead and saute all this. I'm going to salt and pepper it. That's all I'm going to do with this for now because this is the first layer. And then the rest of this I'll probably put in with the 4 eggs. I chose 4 eggs. The more eggs that you choose, this is just a little pink salt. The firmer it is, the more milk you put in, the looser the casserole will be. But I prefer mine a little bit firmer. So I'm going to saute this up and then I'll be back with the liquid ingredients. Okay, I'm doing it. I'm going to use up at least half, if not all, of this cheese I have left over from Christmas Eve. There's a couple slices of Swiss, and this is cheddar. So I'll probably use maybe half the cheddar. So I'm doing it, I'm using it up. Okay, while this is cooking away, I want to cook off all that water from the zucchini. So I have this turned up on high. But in the meantime, I'm shredding that cheese. And I don't know if you guys have one of these. I've had this for forever. But it's a cheese grater. So I stuck all those slices of cheese in there, and I'm just grating that up. And in my opinion, this is just so much faster than a box grater for cheese. And I know they still sell these. Like I said, I've had this forever. This is probably, I've had this since my 20s, so, you know, a long time. So anyway, there you go. Cheese is grated, and that's plenty. And I kept 5 slices because I want to maybe have some cheese and crackers as a snack. But this will be plenty of cheese. So there you go. So I'm going to set that aside and continue cooking this. Okay, all the water is cooked off. I'm going to turn this down now. I want to cook these veggies a little longer. And I'm going to add the garlic butter. I want to use that up. Now I could use this on toast or something, but I really don't have any really good bread right now. I'm just using up what I have. And I think sometime this week, when the bread is all gone, because I still have the bagels, I may bake a loaf of bread. Or, who knows, you know, I may break down and do a small shop, but I'm not planning on it. Alright, so that'll impart that delicious flavor into my veggies. And these are almost done because they're going to cook a little longer in the oven. But I'm going to give those a couple minutes yet. And then I'm going to put everything together. And hopefully it all fits in my casserole because I tend to overcook. Alright, I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so I dumped all my breadcrumbs in here, cubes, in here, not to cook them. The heat is off. I just want to mix it up because it's easier to do in here than in the casserole dish because that's going to be full. And then I sprayed my casserole dish with a little coconut oil, coconut spray. Alright, so in here I have 4 eggs, and I don't know how this is going to taste, but I'm going to put this Rosa in there because this is like a Alfredo sauce, so I think that'll go well with it. So first I'm going to beat up my eggs, and then I'm going to see how much liquid I need, because you want to make sure that all the bread is coated. But I'm going to beat up my eggs. And then I'm going to add some of these spices. So I'm going to add maybe, oh, this is salty. So I'm just going to add like 1/8 of a teaspoon, maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon of this bacon seasoning. I'm going to add a good 1/2 of a teaspoon of this garlic and herb. And like I said, I don't measure. I'm sorry, I just don't. I always cook this way. So about 1/2 a teaspoon, more if you want. I cook to taste, so, and I want a little more celery flavor, so probably 1/2 a teaspoon of the celery, dried celery flakes. So I'm going to be adding the cumin, not quite a whole 1/2 a teaspoon, maybe 1/4 teaspoon of cumin. Again, if you like cumin, add more. And then this Tony Chachere's, it is spicy in my opinion. Some people use it all the time and don't think it's spicy, but I'm only going to use, like 1/4 of a teaspoon, somewhere between 1/4 and 1/2, because it's salty too. So, and I can always add more. And then I'm going to mix that up. And then I don't know if I'll need more salt and pepper, but I'll taste this mixture. I know, raw eggs, but little tiny taste won't kill me. So I'm going to put this rosa sauce in here. That'll give it a lot of flavor. And add more cheese. So in that goes. I'll mix that up. And then I'm going to add some milk, because I know this isn't going to be enough and I need a little more liquid. But I want my casserole to be a little bit on the firmer side rather than on the soft side. So I'm also going to add, I'm going to start off with about 1/4 cup of milk. Probably more like 1/2 of a cup of milk. And I'm using almond milk. Use whatever milk, you know. If you want to put meat in here, you can put sausage, bacon, you know, whatever you want. It's your casserole. This is a casserole that you can put anything in. You can put anything in that you want. So there, I'll put that up a little bit. And it's still morning, so this will be more a brunch for me. So anyway, this is what it looks like. And I'm going to end up putting, I may have to put more milk in, I'm not sure. But I'm going to add my ingredients to the casserole dish, and I'll be right back. So I learned to cook by watching my mother, who learned to cook by watching her mother, and both my grandmother and my mother are, oh, well, my grandmother was, my mother is an excellent cook, very delicious. And so that's where I learned to cook, and that's where we all just added what we thought the dish needed. So it would be a really good thing if if you could learn what spices go together, things that please your taste buds. So I just added my shredded cheese to this because I want it dispersed throughout the whole casserole. So that's in there. So that looks pretty good. And I didn't overdo it. Yay! Alright, so all the cheese is in there. Now I'm going to push this down a little bit. Not too much, but I need to get all this liquid in there. And hopefully that's not too much either. So I'm going to pour this over. And you can let this sit in the freezer overnight, or not in the freezer, in the refrigerator overnight, so that the bread also gets soaked in. Or you can let it sit for half an hour and then bake it up. And I'm going to bake this at 350. I don't know, see, this is where I always have to guess. I'm going to bake this at 350 for probably 45 minutes, maybe a little more. So I want to make sure all the egg gets in there, so I'm going to stir that up a little bit, and that's plenty of liquid. Plenty. So, and I'm going to give this just a little tiny taste. I think it's good. So I'm going to let this sit for just a half an hour or so, covered up with some foil, and I'm going to bake it covered with foil. And then probably the last 10 minutes I'm going to uncover it and continue to bake it so the top gets a little color on it. Yeah, so that was plenty of liquid. So there we go, and we'll see how this turns out. Since, as usual, I'm cooking by the seat of my pants. So it's pretty pink. It doesn't look pink, it looks yellow on the camera, but it's sort of an orangey pink from the rosa sauce. Oh yes, and then I forgot, I want to sprinkle it with a little bit of this grated topping before I cover it up, just for some flavor. And you can always top this with some green onions. You can top it with some salsa if it's a Mexican kind of flavor. You can top it with all sorts of things. You could even top it with some sort of a gravy if you have gravy. So I'm just going to add a little bit, make these so hard to open, a little bit of this grated topping, just for a little extra flavor. And this is salty, so don't use too much. And then I think it can use just a little bit more of the Tony Chachere's. So I don't want much though. Just going to put a little bit. You can put some Bob's Red Hot sauce in here when you're making it. I like that on my eggs. Okay, well, I'll be back when this is baked, and I'll let you know if it's a yay or nay. But at least I'm using up those annoying dry bread pieces that keep reminding me that my freezer died. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to put this in the oven in about a half an hour. So while my casserole is baking, I thought I'd come on and have a little chat. It's been my goal to start cooking down the freezer, which I have been doing, but I've been doing a lot of refrigerator cooking as well, and which I need to get rid of that food before I can really get into the freezer cooking. And the freezer cooking, even though I have been using some, I plan on really getting into that heavier in the next month anyway, because if you know, some of you might be new, my freezer died, my garage freezer died about a month ago, and I was stuck with all this frozen food. Fortunately, my mom had a freezer that I could use for some of it, so half the food is over there and half the food is in my kitchen freezer. So my plan is to use down the kitchen freezer, and as I do that, I'll replenish it with the food that's at my mother's. So, but anyway, so far I've used up all my fresh potatoes. They're gone. I have 3 onions left, and I think I'm going to probably have to chop those up and freeze them before they go bad, but we'll see. I mean, I like to use onions when I'm cooking, and I like sweet onions, so that's what I've been using. I had a lot of bread that was stale after I defrosted it, so now I'm working my way through that. I used up all my tomatoes except for a little piece that I want to have with some avocados. I still have quite a few avocados in the refrigerator that I need to use up, but you can freeze those too. So if I free up a little freezer space, I may end up freezing some of them, not all of them, because I do like avocado toast. But right now I don't have much in the way of bread. I just have some bagels that I want to use before I either buy some bread or bake some bread. So I have that left over. I have, I think, 3 eggs left. I'm working on the cheese. A lot of it I froze, and that's in my kitchen freezer. So I'll be making some dishes using cheese. I've been using cheese and cheese and cheese for a while now, but that's okay because I like cheese. Some of it's vegan and some of it's dairy. I eat both. So that's been going well. I have a little tiny bit of celery left and 2 carrots that I want to make a soup, like a vegetable soup, sort of like a chickeny, because I don't eat meat. I have chicken-like stock, so I'll be making a soup out of that. I may put some noodles in it and make it sort of like a chicken noodle soup. That sounds very good. I still have a butternut squash that somebody gave me last summer that's still good, so I need to use that up. So I'm working my way through all the produce that I have, with trying not to waste anything. So that's sort of my plan. And then I'm going to be going to the frozen fruits and veggies. I used up all my my apples from last summer that we picked from the apple tree at the marina. They were good apples. So I'm looking forward to next fall at picking some more of those. But I don't know what kind they were, but they were a delicious apple. And I dehydrated some of those, and I might try and make a little mini pie with my little mini pie maker out of that. I don't know, again, ambitious plans. So that's sort of where I'm headed with this whole series, and I plan to keep going with it and see how long I can go without going to the store, getting a little creative. And my pantries are fully stocked. I have pasta, rice, beans, the basics, flour, sugar, salt, so I can make a lot of things out of that. So I could probably, if I really, really got creative, other than buying some fruits and veggies, and I want to start using more frozen anyway, because for me as a single person, you know, you get a bag of oranges, maybe for $4 or whatever they are. Or you can buy 2 oranges and they cost you $2.50. So I just get the bigger bag. So, and you can always share it with a friend or a family member if it's too much for you. And you can either go halfsies on it, or you can gift it to them. So either way works. So that's something I'm going to be looking to do. Like a 5-pound bag of potatoes lasts me a long time, but buying those individual potatoes for me is, you know, it's just too expensive. I wish that they would keep the price equal on everything. So anyway, that's my plan. So I'll be back when my casserole is done. Well, there is my beautiful casserole, my savory breakfast casserole. It just came out of the oven, so it's extremely hot. I'm going to let it sit for about 10 minutes before I cut into it. And then I will let you know what it tastes like. I ended up baking it for 40 minutes at 375. Then I took the foil off the top and baked it another 6 minutes. And I inserted a pick to see if the center was done, and it's all done. So 375, not 350, altogether about 45 minutes. So I'll be back with a taste test as soon as it cools off a little bit. So Tom and I were going to go to dinner tonight. He was going to take me for dinner. We were going to go to Applebee's, and we were looking online, and apparently Applebee's has a happy hour, and they have one drink of the month that's only $1. And this month it was a frosty something that sounded good. But anyway, I talked to him this morning, and now he has a cold, so we're not going. And so I just wanted to tell you real quick, I keep these in my little medicine cupboard. And these are like Airborne. This is Drug Mart's brand, but I'm sure other stores have their own brand too, and it works just as well. And it's immune support. And so since he told me he has a cold, guess what I pulled out? I swear by this. You know, they have a couple different flavors. They have a berry and an orange. And this is what it looks like. It's just a tablet that you dissolve in water, and I actually like the taste of them. So today I'm going to be taking some of the Airborne because I don't want a cold. So this is what it looks like dissolved. So cheers. I'll be having my Airborne, and I'll probably take this 3 times today. I don't have any symptoms, but I don't want any either. So we'll see how this works. And I also take a high dose of vitamin D, but check with your doctor before you do any of this, because your body is different than my body. So, but this is what works for me. So, down the hatch. Well, here it is. And it looks mighty tasty. But let's see. It's nice and firm. It cut easily. So depending on how filling this is, this will either be 3 meals or 4 meals. I'm not sure. But let's give it a taste, because the taste is, or what is it, the proof is in the pudding. So this is what it looks like. And I got rid of that annoying dry bread. So let me give it a taste. I hope it's not too hot. The veggies are nice and cooked because I cooked them ahead a little bit. That is really, really, really good. And there goes the alarm. That is really delicious. So if you have some annoying dry bread hanging around, give this a try. Like I said, if you like it firmer, use more eggs, less milk. If you like it soft, use more milk, less eggs. But this is delicious. And I used up a lot of things that would have gotten thrown away. And that makes me feel bad when I have to throw things away. All right, I'm going to enjoy this and make this. If you have a lot of bread and you have a lot of veggies hanging out that you don't know what to do with, give this a try. It's really tasty. Now, my version is not vegan, it's vegetarian because of the cream sauce that I used in it. But it would be very easy to do this with vegan ingredients. The spices I chose work very, very well together. It's very flavorful. It's not bland at all. You got to make this. All right, I'll be back later since we're not going out to dinner. I'll either have my leftover stir fry or I may make that soup today. I'm not sure. So I'll be back later with dinner day 25. All right, time for dinner day 25, and I am not cooking today since I made my casserole this morning. So I have still a piece of casserole left here. That's for another meal. I froze one portion. I still have veggies left. Those will be for another meal. And I have this stir fry that I made yesterday. I'm having that for dinner for day 25, and tomorrow I will make something else. And I'm leaning towards some sort of soup, but we will see. So that will be dinner day 25. And no cooking, yay! If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, comment, and like. Thanks for watching.